Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Reidinger, and today I will be showing you how to make Hello World for Python. Hello World is a basic exercise within computer science, the purpose of which is to become familiar with a new language. When I mean language, I am talking about the language with which code is broken down into computer-readable code, this being ones or zeros. You may have heard of a few of these, the most popular being Java, Python, and C. For this video, we will be using Python. Open up whichever browser you choose, then go to python.org and click Downloads. From here, please click the large Download Python button. And when complete, down at the bottom of your taskbar, you should see Python followed by whichever version is, and then exe, which stands for executable. Click that, and now click Install Now. Once finished, this is what you should be seeing. From here, we will click Close, and then if you go to the bottom near your taskbar, go to Windows Search, simply type in Python. Make sure that you're clicking the idle one, and now you will come up with the Python shell. Currently, there is nothing following print, therefore it won't print anything out. So what we're going to need to do is simply put parentheses. This is kind of encapsulating it, and so that whatever is inside print will print. Anything outside of it, it will ignore, or it will consider it a new line. Inside the parentheses, we will now put quotation marks. Make sure there's two. This way the computer knows that there is a start to what it should print and an end to what it should print. Since this is Hello World, we simply will put in Hello World. We should now save. I will put this on the desktop. You can put it wherever you choose. And I shall call it Hello World. From here, all we have to do is go up to Run, click Run Module, and as you can see, it printed out this statement over here. But computers can do so much more. We will now discuss variables. There are many different types of variables. For this instance, we will talk about strings. Strings are pretty much any string of characters, characters being one letter or one digit. In this example, H would be a character, E would be a character, but hello would not be a character. Instead, it would be a string. Moving back to variables, we will need to decide on a name. Because this is Hello World, we shall call this variable Hello World. You will notice that I made the variable one word. The reason being is that variables must be one word. In other languages, there are workarounds such as using the period or the underscore, but for the scope of this tutorial, as well as Python, we will be keeping it to one word. Next, we will have to assign it a value. In Python, the assignment is used as a single equal sign. We will then need to add the string. As I've said before with the print, strings are recognized within Python by using quotation marks. So all we will have to do is simply copy and paste this up here. But if you'll notice, print now has nothing inside of it. We will now need to add back the variable inside of it. Since it's a variable, it does not need the quotation marks, otherwise it would turn it into a string. I will now demonstrate the difference. and now with quotation marks. See the difference? That is not all we can do. We can also use numbers. For example, if we wanted to make a number variable, we would call it num equals, and then any number. For example, we can make this 4. Now, if I were to get rid of this, and instead add num, we will print out the number 4. We will now discuss some of the loops that you can do within Python. For example, if we wanted to count, say, 0 to 5, we could make a while loop. We do this by first calling the while, and then simply whatever statement we would like to happen. In this instance, we can say num is less than 5. We then add the colon to kind of tell Python that we want to continue with this line and that we would like whatever follows it to be in the while loop. From here, as you will notice, it has indented itself. This is different for every language, but within Python, the indentation says that it is a part of either the previous loop. For example, if I were to run it now, it would not do anything. Now, I will take this print, add it into the while loop, but if you are a little bit keen on some of the ideas of computer science, you might see a problem with this. I will now give you about 5 to 10 seconds for you to guess what the problem might be. If you guess that it would run correctly, I'm sorry to say you're wrong. If you guess that it would continuously print zeros, I would ask that you start switching to computer science. As you can currently see, while the num is less than 5, and in this instance it's 0, it prints it out. But there's no change to num, and so it will continuously print out num until you decide to kill the program. So for example, we need to add to num each time the while loop goes through once. To do this, we take num, we do plus equals 1. The reason we do plus equals is it's telling the computer that we want to first add to it, and then equals, as we told you, is assigning the value. So think of it as saying the number plus the value, and in this instance it's assigning 1 to that value. Now if we click Run Module, you will see that it works. Another loop I will talk about, as well as another what they call data structure within computer science, is both the for loop and the list. A for loop is used for iterating or moving through a list or an array. A list simply holds data within a computer. For example, a list might be a list of foods such as spaghetti, hamburgers, or pizza, or even colors such as red, blue, and yellow. In this instance, we'll be making a list of colors. A list is kind of like a variable in the sense that we first have to give it a name. In this example, since we're using colors, we shall call it color. We then give it an equals to assign it. I should also mention a list can hold any of the variables we've talked about. In this instance, it can be a string, a character, or an integer. Currently, the list is empty. We need to populate it, and as discussed with strings, and integers, we need to use the correct formats. Since it is color, we need to use quotation marks. And then divide each string by using a comma. There, now our list is done. We can now get rid of this and instead add our for loop. Just as the while, we first need to call it. We then need to give it a variable name. For this, we will just use CL for color. And then in, because it's telling it to get it inside the list of color. The best way to describe the for loop is that it is pulling color, so the list of red, blue, and yellow, and then iterating through it. But we have the data or the strings, but we do not have the variables. In this instance, CL will take over. I will now explain something. Within computer science, you do not need to create new variables if you are going to keep using them. For example, if I had num as 0, but later I needed it as 3, I did not need to create something like num or number or anything of those sorts. I could simply do num equals 3, and that would change the value to 3. In this first instance, it is going to assign red to CL, then it is going to assign blue to CL, and finally yellow to CL. As it currently stands, it will not print anything out, so we will first need to do print. And remember, this is not a string, it's a variable, so we do not need to use quotation marks. And finally, run. And as you see, it printed out red, blue, and yellow. The next topic and final topic I'd like to talk about today is if and else statements. A if-else statement is kind of as it sounds. A if-else is simply saying, if it is one thing, do this action. Else, do this one. For example, if we were to get rid of all of this and then do if num equals 0, we will now need to add the print statement. Remember, it is a variable, so we do not need the quotation marks. The else, on the other hand, is what happens if the if statement does not work. Now, if we were to run this, we will see we get 0 because the number is 0. But now if we were to say change this to 4, it would print out bad. I hope you have learned a lot today, especially about computer science, as these are the basics and also the fundamentals and building blocks of computer science. And I hope that by learning this, you become a little interested and maybe decide to pick up a language or two. Thank you.